Hieronymus Bosch was a Dutch painter in the later half of the 15th century, part of the Northern Renaissance. He's known for depicting detailed landscapes, religious narratives, and mystical and fantastical imagery. Wow, he might have witnessed a town being burned to the ground when he was 13, but who's to say? He also got married once. Other than that, we don't know much about him. There are fewer than 25 paintings attributed to him because Bosch rarely signed them and never dated them. Historians love him, but his most famous work by far is Garden of Earthly Delights. Viewing the triptych while closed, it closely resembles a love child of a plastic 25-cent machine toy capsule in Whoville. It's painted in grisaille, which is a fancy word for no color. The outer panels are usually interpreted in two ways, dictated by the inscription that runs across both panels. For he spoke, and it came to be. He commanded, and it stood firm, which is from Psalm 33:9. This is a Christian piece. See the speck in the upper corner? That's God! There are two different theories about what the outer panels could represent. One, the beginning, creation, before God made his big mistake with humans. Or two, the flood, when God realized his big mistake and started over. Then, God introduces Eve to Adam, and all hell breaks loose. No, seriously, that's the title. That accurately set the scene. There's a giraffe, kinda, and an elephant-ish, and many other strange creatures not quite of this realm. No, not them. They're the first people, according to the book of Genesis, which you can read all about in your Christian Bible. Or Jewish Torah. Back to your regularly scheduled programming, people nakedly cavort and all hell breaks loose. The central panel is cluttered with naked people enjoying themselves and living their lives, but in a bad way. There are also birds, and a mussel shell, and fish, and a strawberry, and a castle that looks a little like a McDonald's play place. Weird, right? Wrong. Most of these symbols represent one thing: sex. A mussel is not an oyster, but it looks kind of like an oyster. Oysters are hot. At least, they've been venereal symbols since ancient times. Fish are hot, and intentionally phallic. Strawberries are not oysters, nor fish, but strawberries were considered a symbol of courtship. The people around the strawberry are a little past the courting phase. Fun fact, when you put naked people around a courting fruit, you change its meaning to love fruit, aka a metaphor for sex. Okay, fine, whatever. What about the birds? Language lesson. So Dutch is a language that came from Middle Dutch, which came from Old Dutch, which came from Proto-Germanic. The Old Dutch saw a bird. Cool, a vogel. The Middle Dutch rolled their eyes. Vogel. What about two-bird? Pluralize it. Slap an en at the end. Wait, no. Vogelen was a Dutch euphemism for sexual intercourse. Bosch utilized this mistake and made a visual pun. Birds imply sex. Hot. You know what else is hot? Hell. In panel 3, all hell breaks loose. The third panel of this wild ride is a chaotic hellscape that portrays the torments of damnation. Everyone doing that bad stuff in panel 2 gets their just desserts here with tortures like this, and this, and this. Whoa, that's a lot of torture, said everyone who was told this is exactly what would happen if they continued doing what they were doing in panel 2. Do we really deserve this? Phew, thank God we weren't in panel 2, said a bunch of other people not in panel 2. Totally safe. Even though panel 2 is only about lust specifically, there are 6 other cardinal sins, and each has their own special punishment. The greedy get eaten by an owl bug, then expelled into the void. The envious are dunked in ice water. The gluttonous are forced to eat not-so-great things like toads. There are also punishments for people who do bad stuff, like play board games or serve in the clergy. See this butt? It has music on it. It sounds like this. This panel has a lot of musical references because music is a distraction from God and a sin, and sins are bad. See him? That's an eggshell tree man taking a spotlight in this panel. He has been interpreted as Bosch himself because Bosch translates to forest. We have no way of verifying this though, even with his stunning self-portraits. Hieronymus, bye!